Hello there, listeners. We are taking a little break this week, but we will be back next week with another full episode for you. But we didn't want to leave you hanging this week, so here's a short little interview just to spice up your audio this week, and we'll be back with you soon. Enjoy.
So, Catherine,
Yeah,
what do you call a luxury automobile with a built-in artificial intelligence?
I have no idea.
Alexis.
Oh.
Hello there, listeners. We have a little surprise for you. We were lucky enough to have the opportunity to speak with Margaret, also known as Maggie Henriquez, President and CEO of Krug Champagne. Maggie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for your invitation, Catherine. It's a great pleasure to be with you today.
Oh, it's such an honor. So I wanted to talk to you for a couple of reasons. The first is that you clearly have a deep understanding of the luxury market. And I was kind of curious, I've seen you quoted saying that your first year running Krug was a failure, in your words. I'm sure it wasn't, because
No, it was.
You've said that you didn't understand that luxury is a completely different business in that it doesn't respond to a market need. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, well, I had been for many years before arriving in Krug, president or general manager of different companies in crisis, in context of crisis, or in crisis themselves, like it was the case in Mexico. So I had done many turnarounds in different contexts, in different countries, in different cultures, in different circumstances, with a lot of success. So when I arrived in Krug, it's a small company, so a small house. In the case of Mexico, I used to have 3,500 employees. In Argentina, it was 800,000 in Venezuela. So in all cases, I had these difficult circumstances, and the solutions came quite fast. I addressed the strategic issues and proposed a strategic plan. And in less than a year, I would say, in the case of Mexico, 18 months, we had fantastic results. So after many years of success in turning around, you arrived in France, it's 2009, house is going through crisis. So you arrive and you have a small house of 70 people. So you say, this is easy. This is small, this is easy. And you see, this was the mistake, because I underestimated the problem and I didn't address it correctly. And by the end of the year, the house was falling in 2008 and continued to fall in 2009, which for me was a big failure. And failure is, you never know when it's going to knock your door. But I like to really go deep into what happened, and I know, and I really enjoy just sharing it, because I think it was a learning process, and I like to share it, because whenever you underestimate a problem, you will fail. And this is what I did. I underestimated the problem, and I failed. And of course, I think the group realized that I was a little lost, and they invited me to a workshop. And in that workshop, somebody said to me, Maggie, you are not in something you have done before. This person used to work in Unilever 18 years before. And he said, I used to also came from Unilever. And it was very difficult at the beginning, but this has nothing to do. Forget about coming with solutions in 6 months. You will need at least 3 to 4 years, because luxury is time. You see? And it's true, today, nowadays, luxury has come into society as brands. And so it's luxury is a brand, and a brand is somebody who is kept alive through an organization. And I realized we knew nothing about our founder, and I understood that I was just addressing the house and the problems in a very wrong way. And this is exactly, because I always say, you can't make a mistake. What you cannot do is make a mistake twice. You see. So you stand up and you realize that you just addressed the situation wrongly, and you didn't pay attention to what it was. You didn't learn and acquire the competencies you need to address this new situation. And of course, the second time I did the right thing, we started really digging down in the history of the house. And today it's very beautiful to be able to share with the world that the results have been fabulous. The house is stronger than ever. And this is the result of having gone back to the roots. And the more you're rooted, the further you can go. And it's very interesting because luxury is really first, unique, and different. You have to be first, unique, and different to go further in quality, in a proposal, in an experience. And you have to be very, very coherent. And it's an emotional connection between brands and consumers. And so it was interesting. We did the job. We went and dig down in our foundations, and we understood that the House of Krug is a house that was founded by a man who had a different vision and who arrived in Champagne and didn't want to follow what the others were doing. This is exactly what luxury is. This is what Chanel did. This is what Vuitton did. This is what Dior did. But it's true that in the world of wines, where we fit also on the distribution side, we are not completely luxury because we don't have total control on the raw material, which is something luxury products have. And we don't have the control on the experience and the distribution. So it is quite different. But we used a lot of elements that are necessary to build these long-term brands, and especially to come back to our roots and be coherent with our roots. And this is what we did. Understand the house, be able to talk differently, and then align all our communications that passes through also our champagnes to what our founder had in mind, you see.
That's so interesting that your solution came down to good old-fashioned storytelling, which is something that technology can't really help with. I mean, all the modern tools we have, it was really just storytelling and history. And you brought up the example of Chanel. I think we all just think of Coco Chanel, and that's the image of Coco sort of inspires us, and that's one of the reasons we love that brand and we love that perfume. Well, I want to change the tone a little bit because I'm curious about how the pandemic year went for Krug. I know it was very challenging for the champagne market, and I think it was challenging in more ways than one. Not only did demand drop, but I think that all of us who work in the luxury wine industry were caught in sort of an awkward situation where a lot of people were really, truly suffering during the pandemic. And so it wasn't a good time to say, oh, poor us, you know. So I just am curious how Krug fared during the pandemic, what that year was like for you navigating that.
Yeah, well, on a side, yes, it was tough for Champagne during the months of April and May. And so the situation was difficult. And as you said, people couldn't buy champagne, why champagne, etc. But this passed, and this changed during the year. And at the end of the year, it was quite good for Champagne, for smaller houses. I have many friends, they run houses, and it worked quite well. So at the end, the Champagne ended less bad than people thought. And it started the year quite good. People learned that there were many things to celebrate, because this pandemic that has been very complicated and terrible, and it has given a lot of suffering for many people, especially, I mean, all the on-trade, our partners, it's been very complicated. And now in US, they are opening, but France is still probably next week, in a few weeks to come, that things will get open after many, many months. So the situation has been very difficult for many people, and I am extremely sorry. But besides this reality, people also realize that you know, the values change a little bit, and people value the moment together. I used to say in many conferences I gave, how many times people were together and they were all connected to the phone, and people were not appreciating the time they had with the family or with the friends. And this has completely changed. And there is where Champagne has arrived, you know, just to bring this joy of different ways to have good moments, you see. And because of almost all sources of joy have been closed, theaters, museums, opera, everything is closed. At the end, really a nice bottle with friends or with the family has been part of the joy we have had during this year and a half. Crisis is always there to make you stronger.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that we like this crisis, but crisis is there, what you do. And what we did is that immediately, 15th of March, we had a menu of connections so clients could ask us for Krug Connects or tastings or masterclasses, and everyone at the house was at the service of the different markets. And we had done so many Krug Connects, or around 230, and sessions, and touched like 5,000 people, which it never happens because all Krug activities are always small. So at the end, crisis is there. We have to face it. We were flexible. We reinvented our programs, our projects. I have to say, I have to give a bravo to our teams and in the markets and in the house. And I would say that this year we are feeling the effect of all this big work that was done last year.
Well, Maggie Henriquez, in the beginning of this interview, you were very humble about your first year at Krug, but I think you've just proven that you're probably the most brilliant CEO in the wine industry.
Come on. This is too much.
As we say in the U.S., it sounds like you took lemons and made lemonade out of a really tough year. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Katherine. It's been very kind and nice of you.
It's been wonderful hearing from you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This has been the Four Top Podcast. Catherine Cole is our executive producer, Izzy Kramer is our senior producer, and I'm Keelan King, sound supervisor. We are also assisted by audio editor, Michelle Richards, our production assistant, Rachel Grossman, and our social media assistants, Lex Rule and Nick Toole. Please visit our website, thefourtop.org, to learn more about us, listen to back episodes, reach out to us on social media, and purchase books written by our amazing panelists. And if you have not already subscribed to The Four Top on iTunes, NPR One, or Spotify, please do so and leave us a rating. Stay safe out there, and thanks for listening.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you still there? Oh, well, if you're still listening, then I need to tell you something. I need to tell you about the fabulous swag over at sparklingwineanytime.com. Sparkling Wine Anytime is, of course, your favorite new book about all things bubbly, but it is also a wonderful website designed by our team, Lex and Rachel. And we have gifts and goodies galore for you. We have sparkling wine-themed beach towels, teas, cocktail napkins, fancy wine flasks, adorable tote bags, and more. And guess what? Your purchase will help to support a favorite cause of ours, Ahivoy, that's AHIVOY, check it out, which provides education and career training to vineyard stewards in the Willamette Valley. So it's a win-win for everyone, and who doesn't love sparkling wine anytime? Please head to sparklingwineanytime.com. We would love to see you there. Thanks. We love you all. You're wonderful. Kiss, kiss.